So you might think of first aid training as something that you only use in rare emergencies. So it's a skill that you can pull out once in a blue moon. But in reality, first aid training in the workplace is one of the most practical investments a business can make. Whether you work in an office, a warehouse, a school, or a cafe, knowing how to respond to injuries and illnesses can literally save lives. It can make a pretty big difference in productivity, safety, culture, and staff confidence. Today, we're breaking down why first aid matters so much, how it benefits both employees and employers, and what you can do to make it part of your workplace culture. Why first aid matters in the workplace. So let's start with the obvious. Accidents happen. Even in the safest workplaces, you can't predict every slip, trip, or medical emergency. A simple coffee spill can lead to a nasty fall, a sharp tool can cause a deep cut, an allergic reaction can happen to someone who's never had one before. And it's not just dramatic emergencies. Sometimes it's the smaller everyday incidents where first aid really makes a difference. For example, a colleague might burn their hand on a hot oven tray in the staff kitchen. Someone might start feeling faint after standing for too long. A customer begins choking on food in your cafe. Now, in all of these cases, a trained first aider can respond quickly, correctly, and confidently, turning a potential crisis into a manageable situation. Workplaces that take first aid seriously aren't just prepared, they're actually protecting their people, their reputations, and at the end of the day, their bottom line.
In Australia, in 2021 and 2022 alone, nearly 500,000 people impacted by injury or illness in the workplace. Many of these cases lead to serious disruptions. Over a third required time off, and tens of thousands ended up with workers' compensation claims, often involving sprains, strains, cuts, or fractures. These injuries don't just affect staff, they can also impact customers, leading to further risks and liability. Having trained first aid responders on site, along with the right first aid supplies at hand, is essential. It ensures immediate care and helps reduce injury severity for both employees and the public until professional help arrives.
The legal side. Workplace health and safety laws require employers to provide a safe working environment that doesn't just mean removing hazards, it actually means being prepared for emergencies. Safe Work Australia guidelines outline that employees must have appropriate first aid equipment and facilities. Make sure first aid is provided by trained personnel. Ensure all workers have access to first aid assistance. Now, this isn't just a legal box to tick. It's about creating a workplace where safety is more than just a policy, it's actually part of the culture. By training staff in first aid, you're meeting your legal obligations and building a proactive, safety-first environment where everyone knows what to do when something goes wrong.
Every year in Australia, around 200 workers lose their lives on the job. That's 200 too many. According to the latest Safe Work Australia data, vehicle incidents alone cause 42% of those fatalities, followed by falls from height, which surged by 71% in 1 year. On top of this, the nation's current work-related injury rate stands at 3.5%, which, while better than the global average, still reflects over 1 million serious workers' compensation claims in the past decade. First aid training isn't a nice to have, it's a lifesaver. It equips employees with the confidence to act fast, help colleagues, and ultimately reduce the human and economic cost of workplace accidents.
The benefits for employers. For employers, workplace first aid training is a win-win. Here's why. Faster response times. When seconds count, having trained staff on site means help is immediate. You're not waiting for emergency services to arrive before action is taken.
The time it takes for professional help to arrive after a workplace accident can vary greatly depending on where you are. In Australia, the average ambulance response time for life-threatening emergencies ranges between 16 and 34 minutes in capital cities. That's a long wait if someone has suffered critical injuries. Having trained employees on site means care can begin immediately, bridging the gap until paramedics arrive and giving every injured worker the best possible chance of survival.
Reduce severity of injuries. A quick response can prevent injuries from becoming worse. For example, proper wound care can reduce infection risk, and CPR can help oxygen flowing until paramedics arrive. Lower costs. Preventing injuries from escalating means less downtime, fewer compensation claims, and lower insurance costs. Improve workplace morale. Staff are going to feel valued when employers invest in their safety. Now, it sends a really clear message: we care about you. Now, a safe workplace is attractive to clients, customers, and future employees. One business owner I spoke to recently told me that they introduced regular first aid training, and now their staff felt less anxious about dealing with incidents, and that confidence meant faster, calmer responses in real situations. The benefits for employees. Now, it's not just employers who benefit. First aid training is a skill for life. Employees who are trained in first aid can keep their friends and family safe outside of work, respond with confidence in public emergencies, and add a valuable skill to their CV. Feel empowered, knowing they can make a difference. And here's something worth remembering. You never know when you'll be the one who needs help. When everyone's trained, you're surrounded by people who can step in for you too. If you want to bring first aid into your workplace, here are some key points to remember. Train more than just the minimum. Don't just train 1 or 2 people. Aim to have a first aider on every shift in every department. Keep skills fresh. First aid skills can fade over time. Encourage regular refresher courses so your team can stay sharp. Equip your space. Make sure first aid kits are stocked, easy to find, and suited to your workplace risks. Just make it part of the culture. Promote safety awareness through posters, drills, and open conversations about health and well-being. Know your risks. Tailor your training to your industry. An office has different risks than a construction site or a childcare centre.
Workplace injuries can look very different from one industry to another. Construction sites will see more falls and heavy equipment accidents, while offices deal with more cuts, burns, or strains. That's why tailored first aid training and industry-specific supplies are so important. Having the right knowledge and the right equipment on hand can make all the difference when every second counts.
Bringing it all together. Workplace first aid isn't just about ticking a compliance box. It's about building a safer, more confident, and more prepared environment for everyone. When a workplace invests in first aid training, they're not just learning how to put on a bandage or perform CPR, they're building a team that's ready to step up, stay calm, and make the right call when it matters most. And here's the truth. Accidents are going to happen, but with the right training, the outcome doesn't always have to be a tragedy. So whether you're an employer looking to meet your safety obligation or an employee who wants to be more prepared, first aid training is one of the most valuable investments you can make. At First Aid Pro, we offer corporate first aid training where we can send one of our experienced trainers out to your workplace. This means that your team can learn in a familiar environment, and examples and scenarios are tailored to your industry. We also run a full range of accredited courses at our training centres across Australia, giving you the confidence and knowledge to handle emergencies at work, at home, or anywhere else life takes you. Because when it comes to first aid, knowing what to do could be the difference between life and death.